Psst.
What?
Hey. Yeah. You kids want to buy some oatmeal?
You got the stuff? I got the money if you got the stuff.
It's fresh. I got raisins.
Freeze! This is an oatmeal
Blueberries.
bust! Everybody on the ground!
Oh, shit. Ah, fuck.
Hey. I don't come from this country. Diplomatic immunity?
We just got busted by the racial police. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. This is our 100th episode. Thank you for indulging us, pretending this is a real podcast for so long.
After 100 episodes, I think it's a felony now.
Yeah, this is basically fraud. For those who are new to the show, where were you? And also, we've actually been doing this for a very long time. We did the BT podcast during the days of blistered thumbs. Long may it rot. And sorry, that was mean. All right, but no, we've actually been podcasting for a long time, and then we stopped for reasons. And then I was like, this is weird that we don't do this anymore, because this was the structure in which we based our friendship. So I contacted Austin and Johnny and said, let's just do this. Basically,
I think the subject line of the email is, let's get the band back together.
Yeah. And then I basically did a big joke email, but was mostly sincere. Word Funk is just a play date for us.
We're friends, except we just record all of our conversations.
Hold on a second here. Hold on. When you said get the band back together, what you're telling me is that I didn't really need to sing all those songs, and we're not actually a band?
You can still sing.
Oh, okay, good.
I mean, you will, whether we say you can or not.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, look, for a very, very long time, we've talked about two things on this show. One...
Butts and Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, Batman versus Superman isn't going to be out for a couple more weeks, and we will talk about it like in the next era of next 100 episodes, I guess. That'll usher us in. But the other thing we've been talking about is trying to get Austin to tell us more about his past. Austin is like Wolverine, like in the comics, where like he's like the cool one, but the problem is you don't know anything about his past except it's super shady. And then in the comics a few years ago, he suddenly got all his memories back. And there was a comic series called Wolverine Origins where you slowly learned everything, and it was all horrible. So here's what I'm thinking. But it was a very entertaining read. So here's what's going to happen. Austin's going to tell us about his past more, and it will either be awesome like Wolverine Origins, or it will be awful like X-Men Origins Wolverine. So that's the spectrum in which this can go.
So the question is, Austin, do you want acoustic guitar accompaniment? Do you want harmonica accompaniment? Because we might be able to do a Ken Burns Civil War thing here. I'm really sad. I was going to offer theremin accompaniment, but my theremin has not yet arrived. So
we can class it up and have it be a lute.
No, I want those like plastic recorders that they make you play in like elementary school.
We'll see what we can do.
I believe I have one of those.
Oh my
actually.
God!
So,
how did this happen? Like, where did this joke start? Because people have been waiting for this. Like, I see in the comments on like YouTube and stuff, they're like, "Oh, I can't wait for the Austin Origins episode." Like, did I start this joke? This expectation?
I think unwittingly you did. Yeah. I mean, this is like you become a victim of your own intrigue, your own mystique.
Like, you occasionally, like, allude to things, and I'm like, oh, tell me more about that. And you're always like, nah, it's embarrassing and criminal.
Well, no, I have no problem revealing the criminal elements. Like, I was pretty forthcoming with that. It's just that, like, a lot of the things are just downers. Like, I try not to bring the energy of the show down. Like, if I talk about, like, me, it's like, aw.
Right, look. Just let me put it to you this way. I'm going to give you the floor, and you can tell us some stories, or I can interview you like I'm Barbara Walters. But I feel like if I interview you, whether I'm like Barbara Walters or not, I'm going to go down one of those sad paths. So maybe I should just let you take the stage and tell us some neat stories.
It's gonna be sad no matter what. The question is, like, are you guys prepared to try to spin comedy out of this? Like, I want.
Oh God, yeah. I'm gonna Rumpelstiltskin this shit. We're gonna make gold out of this.
Oh, okay. I was like, you're gonna make me guess your name? Like,
no, you'll never guess it.
I know.
We've known each other for like 5 years, and you don't know what my name is. That sounds so terrible now that I say it out loud.
It's mysterious. So this is either going to be like a really boring episode full of bullshit you don't care about, or you're going to feel really uncomfortable because I'm going to like be open about a bunch of like sad stuff.
Okay.
So
you're
welcome. We'll start in a very revealing area. Austin, why do you hate America?
So Austin, I'm just going to like step away. Well, I'm not really going to step away from the microphone. But I'm going to just say, go.
I'm going to stand suspiciously close to the microphone in case, like, anybody needs to grab it suddenly and be like, yo, I'm going to let you finish, but...
Well, okay, first to Johnny's question, why do you hate America? I mean, I was born and have lived my entire life in Florida, so I feel like... Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory there. And also, don't step away, guys. I'm going to need you to jump in, or else it's just going to be a monologue.
No, I'm definitely here.
Yeah, but I'm saying don't be afraid to jump in and be like, haha, that's funny.
I'm gonna.
Okay, good.
I have no really inappropriate way too. But anyway,
yeah, that's the best part. Like I'm saying, don't be afraid to. Like it's all good. I don't even know where to start. Like I didn't practice any of this.
Why? This is like the most. Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
No, it's just because like if I ever come with like prepared statements, I feel like they come off like really stilted. Like I prefer to wing it.
Okay, all right, Austin. I'll lead you with a couple of questions, okay?
Okay.
So first question. It's your birthday. Someone gives you a calfskin wallet. How do you react?
I really, really hope our audience gets that. Like, I assume they do.
Yeah, someone once said, not everyone will get it, but the right people will.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, you should pimp your new episode, Leon. We don't use this show as a platform the way we should to sell our other shit.
All right,
you're in a desert walking along in the sand when all of a sudden you look down and you see a tortoise.
What's a tortoise?
You know what a turtle is, Leon?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh.
It's crawling towards you. You reach down, you flip the tortoise over on its back, and the tortoise lays on its back. Its belly baking in the hot sun, beating its legs, trying to turn itself over, but it can't, not without your help. But you're not helping.
Why not?
Why is that?
We have this entire movie memorized.
Yeah, this got really weird since I'm actually Leon. Anyway, so not the point. Not the point. We're deflecting here. We're getting away from Austin. Wait, I was gonna say something and then I forgot.
Yeah,
God damn it.
About your episode, right?
Oh yeah. I did an episode about Blade Runner. It's going very well in terms of views. My an older episode from about a month ago was recently spotlighted on a website called One Perfect Shot. You may be
your Gone Girl episode. I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you. I always try to get my episodes out there and to make them go viral, and then they never do. No one ever picks them up. And then like a month goes by, and this website that I'm aware of but never submitted anything to picked this up. So that's neat. But anyway.
The secret to going viral, Leon, is you have to make the thumbnail a close-up of your face, and it has to be like wacky, like oh.
I don't know if I can do that.
You have to make like a YouTube face.
Okay. All right. Austin, just look. This show isn't going to be 50 minutes of us dancing around this and then you doing it for 10 minutes. So why don't you go ahead and do it?
Okay.
Do the thing.
I guess we got to sandwich it between the intro bits and the questions. So I'm the whitest human being alive, but I have a weird last name. Have you guys noticed that?
I am aware of that.
I don't know if I describe it as weird exactly.
People often misspell it, I find.
Yes.
Yeah, but Leon, people misspell my first name.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple different ways to spell Johnny. That's a variant thing. Everyone knows Johnny, though. Like
I mean, people have spelled my name with the H in front of the O. Like.
Oh, that's neat.
That's like some Eastern European shit, right? Joni. Anyway, Yorski. That's it's a thing. So I guess how do we get to there? Have you guys ever heard of someone named Horace Greeley?
No.
That sounds familiar.
It sounds
but I
like
think maybe just the last name. I think just Greeley sounds familiar.
it sounds like a character from To Kill a Mockingbird. But go ahead.
I mean, the last name might be familiar. I know in most of my American history textbooks growing up, he was usually mentioned once, because he's kind of a figure of manifest destiny, a time in American history when we decided, yep, train. Do you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yep.
It's very manifest destiny. When we decided that it was God's plan for us to kill all of the Native Americans and take over this entire continent. Horace Greeley was someone who started a newspaper. He ran for president, and he was credited with an essay or something where he said, "Go west, young man," which is like a phrase that's often used to like encapsulate that time. That is like my direct ancestor. Like my biological mother's last name is Greeley. Like it's a family that was pretty prominent in American history. Like they were a big deal.
Okay.
So Yorsky is actually, okay. Where does the story start? The Greeley family.
First of all, where were you conceived?
Was it on the corpses of several Native Americans?
Because if it's not, I'm afraid I have to question your legitimacy.
So if you look into the Greeleys, right? So they used to be a big deal. What happened? If you read about Horace Greeley, when he was running for president, he went crazy and died, and his wife went crazy and abused the shit out of her kids. Basically, there's a history of mental illness in that family, and that is, oh man, is there a genetic component to that? So where that comes down to basically is that my biological mother, who is a Greeley, had. I guess what I've heard is that she was bipolar, but I also heard recently that she is schizophrenic. And I've never met my father, my genetic, biological father. So, there's a whole thing there. I don't want to have to get so deep into that. But the long story short is that I'm adopted by a Ukrainian man whose last name is Yorsky.
Got it.
Which is how I got that name.
Right.
But
I thought maybe Polish.
Yeah, so apparently Yorsky is not a traditional Ukrainian name. It's Jaworski, and it's been mangled, I guess, from some sort of religious thing with the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. If you're a football fan, you probably know Ron Jaworski.
Just like every other last name in American history, practically.
Except for all the ones that are just describing professions, Smith and Cooper and stuff. That's actually my original name was Austin Cooper. Because that's what my biological father's name was. So I've had two last names at this point. Let's see.
So Austin, if we were ever to meet in real life and go out for drinks, technically I would be hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Are you proud of that joke?
I'm so proud.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the crux of everything. Basically, is to understanding what happened to me is that my family situation's super fucked up. So I was adopted, but also my mom and the person who adopted me had two other kids, my half brother and half sister. I just call them brother and sister, and I call that guy my dad, even though he's not my actual dad. But after that happened, she embezzled a bunch of money from his company and ran away. So we were homeless for a while. I actually lived in a hotel, which was managed by a family friend. We also I slept on some floors and some cars and stuff. We were on welfare, and I went to I don't know if you guys know about charter schools, but
Yeah.
there's you have to pay to get in, and there's a uniform and stuff. But my scores were so good, they let me in anyway, and I didn't have to wear the uniform. It's like an anime where you see there's a uniform, but the protagonist wears something else.
Whoa. Did you have spiky hair and have a long coat and wait a good 4 seconds to respond to any verbal cues from other kids? But when you responded, you were super over dramatic. If somebody was "What's the weather today?" You were
Not
it's
quite.
gonna be sunny!
No.
I taught at a charter school before. That was the religious school. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, I've looked back on that period of my life, besides the fact that I'm totally ashamed of who that person was. But it's strange how anime that was. There's a whole bunch of different components there, but I'm trying to think of what the important / interesting bits of all that is, because there's books worth of crazy shit in there. I've talked about how I got stabbed, and how It was like shoplifting and stuff.
How old were you when you got stabbed? I'm not sure I've ever learned this exactly.
I want to say 12. I told you guys this, but actually the other day, my dad texted me. He's like, you wouldn't guess who I just ran into at the grocery store. And I was like, who? And he was like, that kid who stabbed you when you were younger. He's like, he's a manager at the store now. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, it was just like a weird factoid, but like he's still around back in our hometown. He's just chilling out.
Austin, where did he stab you on your body, and where did he stab you geographically?
Yeah, was this like a gridlocked situation here where he was like, just aiming to damage your dignity, or was he straight up going for the liver?
We were just like street fighting like stupid little kids, and he picked up like this jagged piece of metal and stuck it through my arm.
Oh.
Like at the elbow bend, basically. I have what kind of like the ghost of a scar there. Basically, it like ripped out like a chunk, which was like hanging off. And I
Quick
kind of just
side note.
Yeah.
Ghost of a Scar is like the best name for an emo band I've ever heard in my entire life.
But I just like put the chunk of like flesh back in the hole and like taped it down, and then we went and played Gran Turismo. Like, like it wasn't even a thing.
Oh, so you weren't like mortal enemies or anything. It was just it happened.
I'm like genetically unable to hold grudges. Like, it's whatever.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
But it's like, even after all of this, like, okay, so I would have, we had had this conversation like a year ago, and I said, like, I haven't heard from my mother since I was like 10, but she actually sent me an email recently and was like, what up? I'm alive. And I was like, sup? Like, I don't know. Like, you ruined my life and also a million other people's lives that I know, and you kind of are maybe an objectively bad person, but like, what up? I don't know.
Wait, were you like, nah, dog, I ain't about that anymore. P.S. Did you see Game of Thrones? That shit is crazy!
Nice callback. No, I was just like, hey, how you doing? So yeah, there's like in Florida, we have this thing called the Baker Act. Have I ever talked about this before? I feel like I have.
What?
No, but now I want buns.
There's a law in Florida called the Baker Act where the police, if they think you're a danger to others or yourself, they can just throw you in a mental institution without like due process.
It's terrible.
And they did that to her, and she escaped.
That is some fucking shock shit.
What do you mean she escaped? Like was there like limited security, or did she like tunnel through a poster of Rita Hayworth?
I don't know the exact. It made the news. I don't remember the full extent of it, but she escaped, and like I think she's like currently on the run. Like I don't know if they throw her back there necessarily. I think it might actually be for child support, because in every state child support works differently. In Florida, you're never forgiven, even when your kids reach 18. So she owes 3. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You should probably contact the police and then get your mother's email and be like, hey, you want to meet up? It's like right across the street from this police station. And then then the sting is on.
You're such a narc, Leon.
I'm sorry, but
you said you'd sell out your kid if they ever brought you drugs. You're totally...
I first of all, I would never have children. I mean, if I had children, I would find like any way to get rid of them, including jail. But Austin, no, I'm sorry. Go right ahead with your story.
I would say, like, I have no interest in her money or her attention or anything. Like, she's just a person. There are 7 billion people in the world. Being genetically related to me is not interesting. Like, we share like 70% of our DNA with bananas. Like, I have no interest in introducing myself to every banana I see. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
I didn't know that about bananas, but all right.
It makes it very, very confusing to walk through the grocery store.
Well,
Dad! Oh, no. Fool me once.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, like, there's a bunch of crazy stories about that. Like, my last memory of her is her kicking out the window of a police car.
Wait, did she get out?
No, no, she went away.
Oh.
No, that was just an anger thing. Like, she like, glassed my dad. Like, he has this like crazy sunburst scar from a place where he glassed her. That's why we've talked about MRAs before, about like men's rights activists, and it like really pisses me off because like there are genuine issues. Like, the state of Florida tried to give custody of us to her, even though she did not want us, and she was a dangerous schizophrenic drug addict. And my dad did want us, and was like a business owning, like, we had problems, and I'll get into that if it, comes up, but like Like that's an actual issue with men's rights, and it's like, nope, we got to yell at Anita Sarkeesian. She said some shit about video games, bitch. Ugh. But that I do have like genuine like men's rights issues, and that's why that pisses me off so much. But so yeah, like that's the crux of like the foundation of Austin is like the family issues. But then there's like, I've talked before how I was a jock, I was on the football team, I went to like we were undefeated my sophomore year or in my freshman year at football. We were
some guy broke his arm on the big dick.
Some guy did break his arm on the big dip. I told that story on Dice Funk. Listen to that show, it's good. But yeah, my freshman year of high school football, my knee exploded. I tore my like ACL like whole hog, and then later I tore my left like or partial tear in my left MCL.
Do me a favor, Austin, for somebody who doesn't go to school in America. Your freshman year in high school, how old were you?
You don't know what that means?
No.
I think 14.
14? Okay. Yeah, see, we just
14,
refer
15.
to them. We just refer to them as grades in Canada for the most part. So 14, 15, I would have been about, I guess, grade 9 maybe.
Yeah, it is. It's grade 9 for us as well. We just have other names for it.
Yeah, nobody says freshman year or sophomore or I don't know what the other one is.
Junior and senior.
See? You guys are speaking Greek. I don't get it.
All right.
So like there was a time where I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a football scholarship and then I'm going to play football or whatever, but that was out the window when I tore my shit up. So I switched high schools.
Did you get injured in a game, like in the middle of a game, or were you walking through a door? Because I know people who have done like heinous things to themselves, walking down like we're talking half-inch slopes.
Mm-hmm. No, it was during a game against Mariner High School. Some guy was like wrapped around my leg, and I like tried to pivot and turn to chase the guy who had the ball, and most of my body went. The part he was attached to did not. So they rotated independently, which they are not designed to do. And there was a really eerie, warm, wet popping feeling in my knee.
Oh.
And it all tore out. And it didn't hurt at all when it happened. I just could not put any weight on it. What hurt was the recovery from the surgery, which is another story because there was a combination of things that were all going on at the same time, right? So like I smashed my knee up. We were like literally so poor that when I was like 13, 14, like I had a job. I've been paying rent since I was like 14. So my first relationship was like at that time, and
oh, did you get dumped?
No, her dad found out we were fucking. And so we got broken up.
In like a walked in on it kind of way, like in a creepy sort of way, or in a I heard it through the grapevine kind of way?
No, it was from another family member. It's like, I don't know. At the time, it was like the most terrible thing that ever happened. Looking back, it's just kind of funny, honestly. But like,
I mean, young love, it's like that, right? You're like, my God, this is my whole world. I could never live with myself if anything went wrong with this person that I've known for 8 months.
Exactly. No, you got me. Bam, nailed it. But it's also like you have to understand, like this is like everything happening at once. The career-ending injury, the whole personal thing, the family situation. Like I said, I had problems with my dad at the time. Like the best way to sum that up is he had a board he drilled holes in, so when he swung it, you could hear the wind whistle through it. That's a good way to describe my relationship with my father from that time period.
That's dark as fuck, man.
Damn.
Have you ever heard me express hatred for the police? That's some more backstory there. Yeah. Like they just didn't do shit. I remember one time he was just wailing on me in public, and someone called the police because I saw it, and the police came over, talked to him, and they came over and just said, "Mind your father now," and left, and that was it. Like, so fuck the police, I guess.
911 is a joke.
Like, we're fine now. Like, me and my dad have a good relationship. It was just like he was going through a lot of shit because of my crazy mom, and like he wasn't my father, and like we had issues and stuff, and like it's not okay what happened between us, but like we moved. Like I said, I don't hold grudges, whatever. Like, we're adults now, so it's fine. It's what it was. But like I'm trying to explain, like everything happened at once, and then I went and had reconstructive knee surgery, and they gave me Oxycontin, which you may have heard of.
Yep.
And it's like a depressant, so they tell you can only take like one every like 6 or 8 hours because it like depresses you and you like slows your breathing. Mm-hmm. And I took All of them. Just all of them. So,
At once, I want to
I mean, so I took them for a couple days, like I was supposed to, like every 6 or 8 hours or whatever. And then at a certain point, I was just like, fuck it. So I took all of them. And the only reason like I'm currently alive is because my dad got home and like started thrashing me for some unrelated reason, which like kept me awake and alive long enough to like sort some of that through my system. So like I guess I owe him my life, and it's a thing, but like
All right.
so
Hey,
yeah, like
here's to surviving.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not toasting your dad or anything like that, but I feel your pain for the first part, Austin.
like I said, it's some of this shit's a downer, but like whatever. Like I've made peace with all of it, and I'm a better person because of it. Like I used to be. I'm not perfect now, obviously. I have a lot of shitty opinions and thoughts, but like I used to be just
You do.
exactly. But
No, I'm playing.
I used to be like reprehensible, and some of that
You mean-
stuff.
You used to be way more into Gundam than you are now?
That is true. I used to like shoplift Gundam figures, like Gundam models, to build that shit. There's a lot of
Worth it.
it was. I never. Why not? Jeez. So there's a lot of stuff that happened back then, and then it's like after my knee injury, and I got past that, I switched schools to a school with an international baccalaureate program, which is like the most advanced possible. Just crushed that. Got a full scholarship to like the best school in the state. Got a degree, and I applied for like an editing job at a new website, and I got it. And then I was a forum moderator, and then an editor, and then an editor-in-chief, and then I started a podcast, and then that site went under, and we started another podcast, and I guess we're here. Like, there's a lot of other shit, but like the broad strokes, I guess, that's the story of me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were in college, you were like a theology or religion major. Is that correct?
I started as creative writing, and I switched to literature, but I minored in religion.
Minor. Okay. I was wondering. I was wondering about whether I was major or minor, because if you were majoring in it, I was going to ask if you had any plans on actually becoming a holy man. But if you were minoring in it, I'm guessing not.
No. So the religion thing is, so I was baptized Episcopalian.
Okay.
Like my mom's side of the family is Episcopalian. My dad was Ukrainian Orthodox, which is like a kind of Catholicism.
Okay.
So there was like two different things in the household, and I thought that was interesting. And then I had friends who were like Baptists, and I went to their church, and then I went to like an Episcopalian church. Like I've seen a lot of different kinds of Christianity. I always found it interesting, but not like convincing. Like I was like, this is cool. I just don't know that any of it's real or right. And so I've just spent a lot of time thinking about it, and that was just like this thing that was always intrigued me. So I just studied it at university. I was never like, I'm going to be a priest. And that's a different degree anyway. That's you go to seminary and you get a different kind of degree.
Alrighty.
In my heart, Austin, I already kind of feel like you're somewhat holy.
So yeah, some people say I'm like the Moses of Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go that far. Because I sort of feel like the Moses of Florida would probably wear like, I don't know, fewer shirts, but not in a boasting way, in a maybe I can't find one that fits me sort of way.
That's my brother. I have never seen that man wear a shirt in his entire life. He is allergic to shirts.
What, even at church?
No, he's never gone to church.
Okay. I
He
feel
has
like
no
I feel like that would have been the exception.
I don't think Moses ever went to church either, though, Leon. So
Ooh, that's interesting. That's actually how I kind of feel about religion. It's fascinating to me, especially like culturally. Even if I don't think the supernatural elements are factual, the cultural aspect is like legit. I mean, I think that's kind of the way religion will go into the future, where these are our stories, even though we don't think they're super right.
Like the Jefferson Bible. Do you know about that?
It sounds super familiar, but refamiliarize me.
Thomas Jefferson, American founding father.
Well, yeah, I know him.
For foreign listeners,
I'm sorry.
went through his Bible and cut out all the supernatural stuff. He said, like, this is obviously a very important document. This is the bedrock of the American experiment. But I don't think this part really happened. So
That's
like,
fair.
That's like if you're looking for like the truest, maybe capital T true version of that, like
the behaviorist Bible, as opposed to the. Do you want to hear some fucked up shit? So don't eat eels.
Yeah, that's theism. A lot of founding fathers were theists in the sense they believed in a god, but they weren't like super into it. I remember there's a George Washington was late to church like every week, and his pastor came up to him and said like, "You're setting a bad example. Like, come on time or not at all." So George Washington stopped going to church.
Wasn't it? I'm sorry, I could totally be wrong. Wasn't it deism?
Yeah, I mean, deism is when you believe in. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. All right, never mind. Okay. I'm not sure if I have any further questions about your origins, Austin. So, but that more or less covers it. Anything else you'd like to throw out there before we move on to less personal topics?
I mean, like I said, there's like tons and tons of stuff in there, but like I can't remember off the top of my head because I didn't prepare.
Okay.
So like yeah, more there is more, but like I don't know what to spit off the dome right now.
Okay. Well, why don't you just portion that out over the next 100 episodes, and we'll figure it out from there. Okay. Well, with that being said, I'm sorry, Johnny. Did you have anything you wanted to add about this before we move on?
What was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
I didn't really do Halloween. We were too poor. We didn't give presents at holidays really, except for maybe like a book every once in a while. We didn't really do.
You just put a sheet over your head and then you get candy for a year. Why weren't we? You didn't think this through.
I guess that was an option.
No offense, but you didn't know how to be poor very well.
Yeah.
So.
got me.
Okay. Okay. I guess we should move on. So, thing about me.
That was very edifying. I just want to say, like that. Thank you for sharing, Austin.
Yeah.
No problem.
There were some intimate details about my life that I've shared over the course of the podcast, and I don't know. I feel
I said before, I feel like one of the strengths of this is that like when you know that when we tell you like, oh, this game is good, you should check it out. You're like, we're being straight with you because we also tell you like shit about ourselves that like we wouldn't just give out if we weren't being real. So it lends everything like an authenticity.
Okay.
Leon.
Oh yeah.
Who won't even share his real name with us. Please go on.
He's a man of mystery.
Yeah. There we go. All right. That's a preview for episode 200 right now. I'll start penning up the theme song.
Okay.
Leon Thomas, man of mystery. He's on the internet watching the movies. That's a super early draft. So don't hold me to that. I'll have my theremin by then. So
I think the only people in our community who know my real name are my ex-wife and Jess, but that's for legal reasons. But anyway,
wait, Jess is for legal reasons? Or
yes, yeah. She was a witness at our divorce, and
okay. I thought like you guys were in witness protection together.
No. And by witness, I don't mean like in a bad way. I mean it's just necessary. It's for formality. Anyway, not important. What is important is Scientology. And
the most important.
You bet it is.
Yeah. And you know what? As we were talking about that, it actually brings something to mind. Even if like maybe people who are Scientologists are more interested in it culturally than really believing in Xenu and Thetans. Maybe it's like, oh, this is like a community for us. And if it's like that for some people, that's totally fine. I guess. But for me, my entire interaction with Scientology, besides, watching documentaries and reading articles, has been the past few months. For those who are new to the show, I've been getting Scientology mail from someone named David.
This is a rough and alienating first episode, I've realized.
Yeah. Don't ever. I mean, you have to watch the show in order, and I'm very sorry that not all the episodes are back up yet, but YouTube is hell.
Or just
I promise at least 0.62 good jokes per episode, so you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Actually, we have a question here. I just wanted to break in real quick. Marcus William asked, "What's your favorite episode of Word Funk?" And that's relevant because I want to say you can just start with the Sexy Variety Time Hour. I think that's our best, and I think if you start there, you'll be fine.
I think our best episode was either Self-Loathing or the True Detective is Love. But you know what? Let me. I'm sorry. Let me get to this really.
Oh, yeah, Scientology.
Yeah. Someone named David has been getting mail, and by getting mail, I mean I have been getting his mail. Mail from the Church of Scientology has been coming to my address for a few months now, and it's been sort of like joke fodder for this show. So I've like kind of allowed it to happen for a while, but now I'm thinking, you know, we kind of like poke fun at Scientology, but you know, this guy David, he might just be missing his mail, and he might be a perfectly nice guy, and I felt kind of bad, so I called the Church of Scientology. Partly out of the goodness of my heart, but also partly because I was really hoping it would go wrong. Like I would call and then I would explain what was going on, and then they would try to convert me and start talking about Xenu or offer me a free reading or a personality test or something.
You do know that the Xenu stuff doesn't get revealed until like a really high level, right?
Yeah, but everyone already knows about it.
I was gonna say this because it just got brought up in this sort of coalescence with Christianity, where a lot of the stuff in Christianity is like, hey, have you heard about Jesus? The fascinating thing about Scientology is that it doesn't start with that shit. It starts with like behavioral analysis, like being like, no, you can be the person you've always wanted to be, act in the best interest of yourself, take care of your friends. I want to be a Hulkamaniac.
Yeah, they bury the lead to try to like pass it off as like an alternative to like psychology, like almost like a lifestyle coach kind of thing, and then they spring the aliens on you.
Yeah, you got to give it to like the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses. They lead with God like right away. But the point is, I wanted to correct this mailing error to the Church of Scientology and to David, and also because I kind of thought it might be funny. So I recorded the conversation. I'm not going to play it because it's not interesting at all.
What is this, The Wire?
No, I recorded the conversation on Audacity because I thought it would be funny if things went wrong, and then I would just play it on the show.
He set up a sting operation.
It's not at all interesting, though. The person I got on the line was very nice, and I explained the situation, and she said, oh, well, I'll just contact mailing and change this for you. And I said, thanks. And she said, have a nice day. And that was the whole thing. It was not a big deal. So I kind of like, I felt a little disappointed by that it had gone so well. I'm still, however, like a week later, I'm still receiving the mail. So I don't know what to do. I might call back and again record in hopes of either parsing this out and solving it, or at least creating something funny for our show.
I bet that they're super trained to like not reflect badly on Scientology. That's like their whole thing, is to be the face to the outside world. So I don't think you're going to goad them into being like a really interesting meltdown.
No. And plus, I mean, even outside of the realm of this being a spirituality thing or a cult thing or whatever you want to call it, customer service reps are going to be nice to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here's the odd thing about the magazines and things I've been receiving from the Church of Scientology. There's more than one. Like, they have a bunch of magazines instead of, like, the Scientology magazine. There's just tons of different ones. And they're not competing because they're all from the same church. So it's not like Guns and Ammo competes with other, paramilitary magazines or anything. No, these are all from the Church of Scientology. One is called Ability.
I think Guns and Ammo is the one you get if you're a Baptist.
Okay. One is called Free Winds. One is called Advance. Wait, I'm trying to figure out why these are different. I know this one, Ability, is different because it's the magazine of the founding Church of Scientology of Washington, D.C. So this person probably lives in and around Washington, D.C. or attends a church there. I don't really know if it's like an actual church. The point is, I'm getting like a bunch of different magazines, and so this person is like subscribed to like 6 of them. So I'm just getting them with great frequency, and I don't really know what to do with them. And honestly, it stopped being funny just reading them a few weeks ago because they all kind of say the same thing. It's just a bunch of initials. Here's like a paragraph. Scientologists are now moving through the OT levels with unprecedented speed and simplicity. As a result, more people than ever are arriving to AOLA to get into their solo advanced level. I can't read this. The point is, it's just a bunch of letters. And
it makes it sound more official, more like oh yeah, this can't be bullshit. They have like vocabulary words.
There's initialisms.
They are trying to
even acronyms.
They are trying to recruit me into the Sea Org, or at least David is, because
that's the bad part. That's where you don't want to go.
Yeah. Are you an underage girl?
This is the like military wing of the church. The personnel director of the Sea Org sent me a thing that says, "Join the Sea Organization. Contact the Sea Org recruiter today." And they left me a number. I'm not calling it because I'm genuinely afraid of this one. So yeah, I think there's something like when you sign up for the Sea Org, you're in it for like 1,000,000 years or 1,000 years or something like that. I don't know how that's enforceable, but I guess it's like a
contract.
Yeah, I guess it's like one of those contracts that says in perpetuity throughout the universe.
It's one of those 50 Shades of Grey contracts.
Just in case you can somehow wiggle out of it. You say, well, Your Honor, I shouldn't be restricted to this contract. I mean, after a few years. And then they say, well, it says 1,000,000. So...
That's the thing that you definitely could get like thrown out of court if it weren't for the fact that Scientology as an organization is like profoundly litigious.
Yeah.
Like their whole thing, if you ever seen the documentary Going Clear, like they got their status as a nonprofit by just sending so many lawsuits that it was just easier to be like, whatever, just do what you want, leave us alone.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they won in court. They were just too annoying.
I also got an invitation to the LRH birthday game. Find out who will win. It's in 3 days. Gosh, well.
I'll tell you who's gonna win.
Yeah.
Xenu.
People who aren't underage girls.
Okay.
Fuck, so dark.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. It doesn't explicitly say what the game is, so that's disquieting.
Hide the suspiciously shaped shovel.
Okay. So anyway, if there's anything like interesting that's going to come of this, I will report it on the show because this has come up more than once. But as it stands now, I'm just getting tons of mail, and I really don't know what to do with it except to ask them to please stop. And that's it. That's all I got as it pertains to the Church of Scientology this week.
Your Scientology update.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. That's more or less it. Johnny, is there anything you wanted to talk about this week? We had like a bunch of topics that I posed and Austin posed. You did not, so I just wanted to like kind of like open up and say if there's anything you wanted to discuss this week, we can. Or if not, I'll just edit this part out and we'll go to Xena or something.
I don't know, guys. Life for me is pretty hectic right now, and as a result, I don't really have a whole lot of stuff to talk about in terms of, what's going on that would be entertaining to talk about in a podcast. I'm still plodding my way through the X-Files. I think I'm somewhere in like season 4 now, 3 or 4 maybe. Is
that the one with the aliens?
Let me think about it.
Good jokes.
But March is really busy for me at work. I come home at the end of the day, usually pretty physically wiped out. I'm doing a lot more napping than I normally do, which is something I had actually given up last month.
For Lent?
No, just because I was spending a lot of time going to bed for what I promised myself was going to be a short period of time, and then wound up being a much longer period of time. And I was like, wow, I don't really have a life. Oh. And I still don't, but a lot of that not life is more conscious. I've been listening to a lot of music lately. One of our podcast listeners pointed me towards this band called Moon Hooch. that I gotta throw out because Moon Hooch has 2 albums and they're fucking amazing. They're a trio of a drummer and 2 saxophonists. And it's not like a jazz trio. It doesn't sound like a jazz trio. It sounds like music that like Death from Above 1979 might make if they played saxophones almost. Like it's pretty dope shit.
Someone sent me some bands to tell you guys. I got to find that message because the joke was that they sounded made up, but they weren't because I checked. Oh, here we go. Crywank, one word. Jordan Mason in the Horse Museum, and Smog in parentheses. This is unemployed historian, friend of the show, who sent these in, and like it was one of the questions for the previous weeks, and he was like, you know how Johnny always makes up bands, what about these ones? But I Googled it, and those are real bands.
Well, Patrick knows what's up because I know that Patrick is a fan of the magnetic field, so hats off to you, Patrick. And also, in response to a question I saw you ask Austin earlier today, Paddy, that's with D's.
The question was, do you ever refer to St. Patrick's Day as St. Paddy's Day? Because if you do, we're going to have words. I don't refer to St. Patrick's Day at all. It's a like, why would an American celebrate that? It's just an excuse to get drunk.
There's a large contingent of Irish people or people of Irish ancestry here, but yes, that is certainly part of it.
I'm just like, I hope that he wasn't directing that question to me through you because my name is Maloney.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would hope that I would know. I'm also a first generation Canadian, actually. Both my parents are from the UK, so in any case, yeah, hats off to you, Patrick. You got good taste in music. I've never heard of Crywank.
I just want to interject something here and read the Urban Dictionary of Crywank. The ultimate display of self-love / loathing, rubbing a one out while weeping, superseded only by the ultimate Crywank, involving weeping while wanking with a cigarette hanging from the mouth and a beer in your free hand. The practice sentence is, I was so sad last night, all I could do was Crywank. Which is, to me, that's not a great sentence to explain what it is, because you can add anything in there. Like, I was so sad last night, all I could do was to do jumping jacks. But so that could be anything. But anyway,
is the female equivalent of that like a sad slick, sad slish? Like, what's the onomatopoeia for? I know it's fap for men. I'm pretty sure I've heard it before. It starts with an S. I was trying to do an alliteration there.
Squish?
Squish? No. It's like fuck. I'm just gonna look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, this won't fuck up my Google.
I thought it might be beanwank, but it turns out a beanwank is a male pouring beans over his genitals while masturbating. So now it's all dudes. Also, you can swap the word for nearly anything.
Yeah.
So in any case,
yeah, I just looked it up. It's schlick is the female onomatopoeia.
Oh my god, can we say that? That sounds so dirty.
Well, it's supposed to. It's supposed to be. It's the sound. So yes, a sad schlick.
So in any case, the only video games that I've been playing have been
Stardew Valley,
and like long-term time wasters. You know, like when it gets late at night and I'm like, oh my god, I can't even think properly. I just need something to occupy my mind, like Assassin's Creed or Mad Max, which I'm still working my way through piece by piece. You know, like games that are designed to be like huge time sinks, and I don't know why I took two of them on at the same time.
Actually, really good. I think it was on Giant Bomb, where I think one of the hosts was talking about how there's something, he's talking about the Division and Destiny. He's like, they're like podcast games. Like, they don't have any like good story content. Like, you don't care about the dialogue. Just mute it and like listen to a podcast while you like busy your hands killing some dudes.
Yeah, pretty much games like that. But I have nothing to say about them because I've been playing them for the greater part of a year at this point. It feels like now. You know, so it's like, hey, how's Mad Max? Well, I guess I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah,
the car drives fast now.
I caught up on Night Vale, real good.
Yeah. So, you know, I got a buddy. There's a buddy of mine who just got just ordered the new Samsung phone, and he got his Gear VR for free that they packaged with it.
Oh no, we're in the VR zone.
No, I haven't tried it yet or anything like that. But he says he's going to bring it to work one of these days. I work with this guy, and he's going to let me have a run at it. So I'm interested to try that. Oculus released their launch titles today. I was like, those look good.
Yeah, and PlayStation VR got a price announcement, and everyone just turned off the podcast, Johnny.
No, that's actually the PlayStation VR. I think is pretty amazing. That's a really low price point. I think that's probably the best chance we have right now at quote unquote mainstream adoption. But like they haven't really shown many games for it, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to handle the same work that the Vive and the Rift are currently managing, but I'm curious to see where that goes. And that's about it. I mean, like there are no revelatory things going on in Johnny's life right now. Ooh, I dropped a belt loop the other week. I'm losing girth.
There you go.
Could you have said that in any creepier fashion?
Well, no, I'm not losing weight though because it's being replaced with muscle. Like I'm maintaining the same like
profile.
No, my profile is thinning out, but like my mass is staying the same. My density is increasing while my volume is decreasing.
Physics. Actually, that reminds me, Nathan. I guess we're just working the questions into the narrative. Nathan J. Haupt asks, "What style of kung fu does Johnny practice?"
This is it's called Mo Kenpo,
which translates to killing fist.
No, this is the thing, is that the Mo Kenpo style is actually apparently in the Kung Fu world, like highly contested as to whether or not it's actually real Kung Fu.
Because real Kung Fu is used for defense, and the killing fist is only for murder.
No, I mean, like the guy that I study from is a pretty strict Buddhist. He's had to start eating meat because his doctor said, listen, if you don't start finding better ways to get protein into your body, i.e. meat, then you're basically going to have to stop teaching in like a year.
You got to get on those protein complete legumes, dog.
In any case, it is taught as a exclusively self-defense method, but no, the reason why is that it seems to have only cropped up in written culture in like the last 100 years. And there's a lot of people who seem to think that it was basically a Western style, kind of like glued together from a bunch of other styles. Because there's a bunch of missing history about it where it's like, whoa, okay, no, none of this happens. Like the legend is that there was this monk who got burned out of a monastery and decided to travel around China and visit a bunch of other temples and see what they were all doing martial arts wise. And
it's kung fu based on corporate espionage.
Well, no, like he would just come and visit, and I mean, it's kind of fascinating when you look at martial arts topographically in terms of, because Asia is a really interesting place in that it almost has like just about every conceivable biome you can think of. Deserts, marshes, mountainous regions, like forests, like every... And not every style of fighting is great to use in the same area. So like an area like Korea, which has like loads of kicks because Korea's lots of sort of desert-like flatlands and things like that. Not so good in Southern Asia, where for 80% of the year everything was soaked in mud.
It's like Pokemon. There's kick type and it's weak to mud type, and then you got to get like a killing fist type to beat mud type.
Kinda, yeah. So the story goes...
You're the mudkip. You're the mudkip of Kung Fu.
The story is that this monk traveled around China and visited all these different monasteries and was like, wow, martial arts are unnecessarily complicated. And tried to distill a bunch of ideas down into a smaller, compact, like, rather than learn 60 ways to disarm a man, how about we learn 2 ways and just practice them until we get really, really good? But like I said, there's a lot of accusations that get thrown around about whether or not it's a serious martial art, or if it was just invented in the last 100 years or something like that, or what have you. I can't speak to the legitimacy of any of that. I really can't.
I like how Kung Fu and all that shit needs like a pedigree and legends. It can't just be like, we killed dudes real good. Would you like to learn? Like you gotta have your papers in order, or else your kills don't count.
Yeah, it's sort of weird how it exists in this world where it's sort of like, hang on, you've only been around for 300 years? You poor upstart.
It's punch elitism was what it is.
So, I mean, like I said, I can't speak to the veracity of it as a style of kung fu, but I can say this, is that I get one-on-one instruction with my master, and when I was shopping around for schools, I visited like 24 schools, between like 24, 25, and like 30 schools or something like that. And I had a list of questions that I was asking people, like whether or not they teach tournament style, or if it's like no holds barred, what's the respect atmosphere, whether or not we are aiming to defend ourselves with every conceivable tool at hand, or some things were like out of bounds. Would you be able to show me something? How long have you been teaching for? Etc., etc., etc. And when I walked in, I had a bunch of questions. His school was the only school that answered every single one of my questions and offered one-on-one instruction, instead of like, well, you joined the novice class, which has like 30 of us, and that's 90 minutes a week. And it's like, okay, so there's one of you and there's 30 of us and 90 minutes. You're telling me that I get what, 3 minutes to myself, where you walk by in portions and go, stand up straight, and then walk away? He answered,
if you need one-on-one attention, Johnny, you can just pay me $10. I'll beat the shit out of you.
No, I mean, because it means one-on-one attention means that you can progress at your own pace. You can focus on the things that either you need practice on specifically, as opposed to like what the room needs practice on. You can learn cool things by asking questions, get them answered to you in a more intimate environment. And he answered all my questions before I had a chance to ask any of them. He invited me to come in and watch a class so I could see what people were doing, and it was the best choice that I had, like right there. So I don't know, maybe it's not traditional kung fu, and maybe people who are studying super old styles would look down on it, but from what I can tell, in terms of what I've seen of a bunch of other martial arts, in terms of forms and katas and just general performance, fighting stances, responses, and things like that, if it's mashed together of a bunch of stuff, it's mashed together of a bunch of legit stuff.
Okay.
Leon's like, yeah, I just got a lot of work done here while you were talking.
I'm sorry. There's it's a long story, it's called the place I go to is called the Shaolin Kung Fu Academy. Like that's the name of the school in British Columbia.
That's how you know it's good.
But yeah, I mean it's more complicated than that. There are an estimated, I think, 500 different styles of kung fu out there. Like when you say I do kung fu, it doesn't mean anything. That's like saying I listen to music.
All right, so questions, or we have more thingamajigs?
We could talk about Xena, and we can talk about something else, but why don't we answer a couple more questions, because I don't know if I can do this much longer, and I know you like to go through those. So let's give our audience a shot here.
Give them a shot. Don't screw it up, audience.
Don't fuck this up.
So wait, you didn't ask for questions today, Leon?
No, I don't do that anymore. That's entirely your project now.
Oh, okay, let's put it all on Austin. You got everyone should follow me on Twitter. It's just Austin.
You do get the better questions though, Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they hoisted themselves with their own petard by trolling you.
Yeah, my Renegade Cut audience asked me a bunch of questions on a live stream recently, and they were all very thoughtful. I don't know what's up with WordFunk audience. So, Austin, this is all on you. Go for it.
Okay. KCK asks, have you... I don't know why she only asked this. She says,
Hi, Casey. I know Casey.
Have you and Leon watched any anthology-type movies or TV shows? Sorry, Johnny. No question for you. I swear to God, if I hear your voice, Johnny, I will kick you from this call. This question is not for you.
Oh my God.
What was that? What did I just tell you, Johnny?
Oh, Casey, you're the best. No, anthology movies, sure, like Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side, and things of those sorts. Sure, all the time.
The first thing that came to mind was American Horror Story, which is kind of like the anthology thing for the mainstream. Yeah. I watched the Haunted House one, the first one, and then I kind of fell off. I've heard mixed things about the other ones, but Fargo is kind of anthology, right? Each season is its own thing.
I mean, in terms of television series anthologies, sure, I watched the first season of True Detective and half of season 2. So,
watch the good season.
Yeah,
Good thing Johnny can't talk and defend season 2 of True Detective.
I'm trying to think of other anthology movies I've seen besides horror, because that horror happens quite a bit. Like Trigger,
that lends itself to it.
Yeah, Trick or Treat was kind of like an anthology of sorts, or intersecting stories anyway.
That awful Tarantino thing, The Four Rooms.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't like it very much.
Super bad. The worst.
Yeah, I liked Tim Roth's performance in it, but beyond that, I was not impressed. Those are off the top of my head.
Do we count, would video game anthologies be things like Final Fantasy, where each one is totally different?
I guess.
Counts? Like Tales?
Sure.
So, yeah, all of those. I mean, even like Fire Emblem and Silent Hill, some of them completely unconnected.
I'm going to have to ask Casey later why she purposefully left Johnny out of the equation. I think she was just joking around, but I'm wondering.
Johnny, do you actually have an answer? I was obviously just kidding. Oh, we hurt his feelings.
Oh, Johnny, come back. Oh, Canada.
Don't even start with me.
Native land.
Don't even start with me.
Okay.
I have poutine.
True.
All right, you just fucked it up. So shut up.
Something. Yeah.
Would you guys like another question?
Sure, we can do. Let's do one more before we go.
Oh man, really putting the kibosh on the questions, Johnny or Leon.
Sorry, we've been going on for over an hour, and I have a life. So.
Damn. El Consolero asks, topic: new Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, we were going to talk about that. So yeah, okay. Look, here's why Harrison Ford is not too old to be Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones does not flip around and do acrobatics. Indiana Jones falls on his ass, gets punched in the face by more powerful foes. When he wins a fight, he does it by shooting a gun. That's it. He shoots a gun. He can still do that. His youth has never been an asset. His knowledge and his determination, I guess, have been the things that have made him what he is. He's not like an action hero in that Schwarzenegger mold. He just, he shoots people to win, and he holds on to things as he gets knocked around. That's his thing. It's not a thing where it's like you can grow too old to get punched in the face.
I mean, he's kind of got an underdog aspect to it. It's not so much that he's not right for it. It's just that it's kind of unfair that men are allowed to be that old and do this kind of shit, and women age out of those kind of things at 22.
You're absolutely right. I'm not arguing. I'm not going to argue against that point, because you're absolutely right. I'm just saying that in this particular case, I think old Indiana Jones is perfectly fine. And I actually did an episode about how hard it would be to accept someone else as Indiana Jones, and to retire Harrison Ford to it. But one day I guess they will, because he's old. He's not gonna live forever. But,
I don't know, guys. I'm just gonna throw this in there that Helen Mirren in Red was pretty fucking awesome.
Okay.
But that's the exception. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the next. The next Indiana Jones won't be Helen Mirren, although I'd watch the fuck out of that movie.
I would totally watch the fuck out of Helen Mirren as Indiana Jones.
I guess I would watch that too.
What fucking Betty White as Indiana Jones? How good would that be?
All right, I guess we're gonna go. Anything we want to say before we leave this 100th episode of this thing that we do?
Oh, there's so many more questions.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, Leon. Stephen James Black asks, this is my thing saying, yes, why Dice Funk rather than Dragon Funk or Dungeons Funk? And that's because I asked on Twitter what I should name the show, and Dice Funk was the most popular.
Yeah.
Also, Dice Funk has the same amount of syllables as Word Funk, where Dragons Funk and Dungeon Funk do not. Also, that would tie us to a single game. Who knows? Maybe Season 6 would play Shadowrun? Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably not, because that's too complicated for us.
Austin, just out of quick question, do you have any ideas yet for what your new podcast is going to be?
Oh no, I mean I do. Okay, everyone who answered was basically BT podcast again, please. So the question
You
is,
mean nobody was old timey radio show where everybody talks a little bit fast and just makes shit up?
No, it was more video games and also more gross and dark humor. So the question is, who is going to be on it? And I guess we'll have that conversation some other time.
We won't.
No, not you, Leon. No one's talking to you. You're too cool for school. You're too cool for questions. You're too cool for school. God.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have anything further to add. So we can go.
I do. I have one further thing to add.
Go ahead.
I just want a small moment of silence to commemorate the loss of the expression "like a bad penny," because they're pretty much all bad pennies now, aren't they?
Didn't we agree we were just not going to let him do sign-offs anymore?
Quick, someone say something else.
We did nothing of the sort.
That was all in my head. Sarah Wheeler asked, what's your favorite song from Hamilton? Guns and Ships. That song, he raps so fast. I think Nate Silver did a thing on it. It was 6 words per second or something.
Come on, Leon, you have to answer this one.
What? I've listened to some of it. So, My Shot, I guess. I don't even know the song that you're talking about, Austin.
You don't?
No, I've only listened to bits and pieces of it.
Oh.
I don't care.
That's the one it's about Marquis de Lafayette.
Okay.
I haven't heard any of Hamilton yet. I'm sorry.
You're fine. It's, it's not mandatory listening.
It basically is.
No. Okay. That's fair. Leave?
Go?
No, I don't mean you need to leave. I mean, are we done now?
I'm just gonna keep asking questions until you end the call.
I'm hovering over the red button.
Here it comes. You better do it.
Bye, guys. I'll see you next week.